Reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, accompanied by FBI Associate Mark Felt, uncovered political espionage trailing from the burglary at Democratic National Committee. At the Watergate office, headquarters of the DNC, was a failed attempt to debug and utilize data resources which include vital political tactics and confidential information. 5 suspects were charged as burglars, with all seemingly no connection to the DNC, as the fact that they were direct members of President Nixon's political campaign. Tapes and evidence stored in the basement areas of the White House recorded President Nixon in the act of ordering the CIA and FBI to cease investigation on the burglary. With the persistence of the Washington Post, from the works of our favorite reporters, Woodward and Bernstein, the tapes and evidence were released, proving that President Nixon was undeniably guilty. On August 9, 1974, having no other option, President Richard Nixon resigned from office, being the first and only president to do so. Without the help from our government and Constitution, the conclusion of the Watergate scandal would have a completely different outcome. In the United States, the president is limited to having 2 terms, each term lasting 4 years. These regulations help prevent tyranny, government control, and reduce the chances of a dictatorship from forming. Major amendments in the Constitution which aided towards Nixon's push of the resignation include the 20th Amendment, the 22nd Amendment, and the 25th Amendment. The 20th Amendment, also known as the Lame Duck Amendment, moved the start of a presidential term from March 3rd to January 20th. This created a more efficient presidential system when it came to continuing terms and stopped the previous president's influence when another was selected. The 22nd Amendment regulates a limit on how long a presidential term can generally last, that being 8 years. The only exception being if a president was ascended for being a vice president, which can give them up to 2 years depending on where in the previous president's term the vice president has succeeded in. This can be put into perspective when President Nixon's vice president, Spiro Agnew, could have succeeded him and was eligible for becoming president for 2 more terms. The 22nd Amendment gives a deadline to a president's influence by placing on limits on terms and allowing a line of succession to be established for when these terms expire. The 25th Amendment directly entails the line of succession and details the following steps after a president is unable to serve in office. This ties back to the provisions written out for the president, as it creates an opportunity for a president to leave the office and explain what should occur after. Remember the 22nd Amendment when I said Spiro Agnew could have succeeded Nixon? Well, Agnew actually resigned before Nixon because of his interference with fraudulent activity and interference with Watergate, but ultimately did not serve Nixon's term. With the line of succession, Gerald Ford, the House Minority Leader, was appointed as the vice president and then president after Nixon. Crazy how intense the Watergate scandal was with the government, right? Well, thank you for listening, and I hope you learned a thing or two.